you about somebody that is thinking about how you love them. And I feel like for the majority of you, this is someone who doesn't have access to you anymore. So it could be an ex, it could be, somebody who tried but didn't really get to that relationship stage with you. But this person is realizing that things, as they look back on it, are a bit clearer in terms of how great you were as a partner or how kind or loving you were. That unconditional love is something I don't think this person had really encountered before. So it's hitting them differently, right? Especially if there is now no contact or some sort of separation. So let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chime time. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you're interested in a personal reading, I would love to do one for you. My email address is wickedonestarot@gmail.com, and it's in the description box for you, as is more information on how to become a member. We do have a members only live stream tonight at 6:30 Central. So if you're in the stars or the towers or the top 2 tiers, then you have access to that. All right, let's start with the Wild Reflections Tarot. What else do you have about this unconditional love? Nine of Cups in the reverse, Judgment in the reverse. I was kind of hoping that more of this would be about, we're in a relationship together and I've learned something and I'm going to change and we can like keep things on the right path, or, alter it so that it's back on the right path. But this seems more so like somebody who is thinking about how things were. We have 2 fours, the 4 of Swords and the 4 of Pentacles, which to me is saying this is someone who's keeping to themselves, not spending much time with others. And it's because they feel like they made a choice or a decision here that prevented them from getting what they wanted. They don't like where they're at right now. So for it to have been a lesson in love, that makes a lot of sense, right? Hey, Danny, how you doing? What else do we have? Six of Cups in the reverse, Death, 3 of Swords. So this is somebody who's heartbroken over you. The ending didn't go the way that they expected it to, or they didn't feel like it would actually be an ending. They thought that there would be some sort of reconciliation at some point. They might still be hoping that there's a chance for that. But with the 6 of Cups in the reverse, they know they fell back into old patterns, and that's why things did not go the way that they should have. This person's still in love with you. This person still feels like there's something that is like salvageable or worth working on here. I'm not entirely certain you feel the same way, because if this was the first time this person was able to experience unconditional love, you may have felt like this person was very uncomfortable with their emotions, especially with that 4 of Pentacles. This is somebody who keeps things to themselves, right? Even in this situation where they're heartbroken and they're not talking to you, it seems like they're not really talking to a lot of folks about this. Maybe one, right? Maybe none. What else? The Lovers. They wish they'd chosen you. 9 of Wands in the reverse, and the Queen of Wands. Yeah, this is someone who has actually grown their affections for you. Like, this is, the breakup has happened, you're moving on, and this person feels like they love you more than they did during the time that you were together or when you were talking. Maybe it's just that they're finally unable to avoid feeling the feelings they have for you. The Wheel of Fortune. Eight of Wands in the reverse. So I do feel like you are, the majority of you are, would be in no contact with this person and would not necessarily be hearing about the things that are going on or know if there are any changes. But this feels to me like someone is contemplating, okay, so if these feelings are real and if this person treated me differently, am I willing to act differently in order to not lose that? Good morning, April. How are you doing? Hello, Joshua. How are you? Hello, Cam. Hello, Earl. What's up? Page of Wands in the reverse. Yeah, I don't think you're expecting communication from this person. I think you've already established that this is someone who didn't know what to do with love, didn't know how to act, you know, like I'm seeing like a completely dark room except for a spotlight, and it like centers on somebody who's dressed like, you know, the Hamburglar, and they're like, love, you know, like, I don't know what to do with that. This is weird. They felt very uncomfortable because of the feelings that you made them feel, but also how you treated them. So this is difficult for them to set aside, even though for you, I feel like with this Knight of Wands, it's like, all right, well, I guess like on to the next. Like it's that MTV show. Next. How did you find out your date was over? They said next. At least there's like no room for interpretation there. This is What's the News. Good morning, James. How are you doing? What do we have? Really? Okay. I mean, it's worth telling you all that where that card just fell was into my, like the small trash can that I have next to my desk. So, and it says new boo. When things got too like close, when you were starting to really get to know this person and they started to feel those feelings, they were like, little ball paper into the trash. It's on their mind because they realize it was foolish. Judgment's in the reverse. I walked away or ran away scared from this love that I wanted because I didn't know how to handle it. Hello, is it Shay? How are you doing? You went to Iowa State? That's awesome. Well, even if you like the Cyclones, we can be friends. Hello, Saint. How are you doing? Oh, thank you. I suppose it probably helps that I stopped dyeing it. For a long time, I really liked having like darker red at the bottom and then like leaving like kind of like darker brown at the top. I called it cherry cola because I'm really cheesy and weird and I have to give nicknames to everything. So we've got Chained and Wine and Dine. Codependency, unhealthy attachment, weighed down, courtship, consistently dating, romance and passion. This is somebody who switches it up regularly. Musical chairs came up yesterday, perhaps it's coming up now. This is someone who wants to find, or so they claim, wants to find love, but when they find it, they're like, get away from me. Oh my God, no, I don't want it. What are you doing here? Because they are codependent. The question here is, I don't know, are they starting to date someone else? And because I'm kind of feeling like if this is a pattern and they were quick to walk away from you when they realized that things were really that serious, it's entirely possible they're starting to date someone new and realizing because they're comparing. It could be that they've seen that you're starting to date someone new and they don't like that you're dating someone new. But in general, this is someone who struggles to share themselves. So I don't see them being like, you know, super charming, hanging out with everybody. I think more so for the majority, I think this codependency is more so that this is somebody who's trying to escape how they feel. So they may be drinking, they may be partying, they may be flirting with someone new just to kind of get some resemblance of the feelings they had when they were hanging out with or talking to you, right? Thank you, April. What else? And it could also be that for some of you, it's not so much the partying as the irrational behavior at the bottom of that card. You know, like, do they dress up like a panda and go out in public? Sorry, that card cracks me up. But in all seriousness, we deal with these kinds of emotional challenges, which it could be like, you know, the dark night of the soul that they're being invited on here. This is someone who sometimes you need substances to escape. Other times people seek out projects. Other times we have like self-destructive, you know, like, oh, I painted all of these, but I hate them. So I'm just going to like rip up all the canvas. You know, there's something here that they're not dealing with these emotions, so it comes out in some like destructive or not very healing way. And with the toxic energy here, it's very likely this person's getting into a lot of arguments or struggling to feel like they can connect or communicate with people. And they're probably thinking back on how things were with your communication, whether or not you were able to communicate those emotions. They probably look at it as you were much more capable of those types of conversations than they are. Hello, Andrea. How are you doing? Happy New Year. Hello, Pyro. What's up? Oh, of course, Cam. Hello, Brianna. How are you doing? Good morning, Rachel. Oh, it's always good to see you, Andrea. What else do we have? We have Strength and the Ace of Swords. Sometimes there's a lot of energy put into ignoring what is right in front of you. You could call it rose-colored glasses, but I feel like that's a little bit more subtle or a little bit more indirect. I think this is... Okay, so what comes to mind is, look, I'm competitive, okay? You can make fun of me all you want, but I'm the type of person who will keep, like, the little golf score thing. I'm the kind of person who will, like, take a picture of, like, the high score because I won and you didn't. You can make fun of me if you want, but that's just, like, how I am. And, you know, it kind of feels like this is someone who's like, no, 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 I won. You have to look at it. And this other person's like, no, 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 I don't want to look at it. No, no. Except for it's not about some silly game and who won or, you know, who sucks at mini golf. It's about whether or not you want to be honest about the emotions that you're feeling, the connection that you want with somebody, or that desire to improve upon perhaps like your approach to dating, right? This is someone who really struggled to let go of inhibitions or an old way of doing things. And so I feel like they said something or did something that was seen as immature. And now they're accepting that that was pretty immature, right? Yeah, fear is pretty powerful on that. So we've got the Ace of Wands. Impressive that I've only pulled 4 cards and we have 2 aces. But it does say that this is somebody who's learning a lesson. And they're learning the lesson that the reason that I've lost this person who loved me and showed me, you know, compassion and that type of relationship energy that I've been looking for, I like ran away scared. I have to face the fact that there are some things that I have to change about my behavior if I want to actually stay in connections with people that love me this way. This could be somebody who's seeking out therapy. This could be somebody who's looking for like some self-help books, because they, I think, are actually acknowledging it was my lack of change. It was my issues that prevented me from returning this unconditional love to the person who showed it to me. Another reference to codependency. For some of you, this could be a codependent relationship within a family dynamic or a social dynamic. What was that movie? Was it Marley and Me? Maybe? There was one where it was like, dude's friend had to move in. I think it was Kate Hudson. And it's like, oh, cool. Third wheeling. This is someone who didn't defend what they actually found, and as a result, they lost it. And now they're seeing you in a better situation. There's something that adds to the layer of heartbreak for them when they see that you've been able to move on easier, probably because they were not able to show you that unconditional love. They're missing the days that you two were together. They're thinking about how kind you were. Whereas you might be thinking, well, it seemed like you were just like uncomfortable with that love the whole time, right? Good morning, Sean. Indeed, we have laser tag in the US, and I'm glad I'm not alone on that. Look, I'm like the youngest chick in my family, the only of the grandchildren, and I got picked on, so I had to talk a little bit louder. I had to like actually know how to be good at stuff, playing pool, basketball. Anyways, so what I wanted was a big deal, okay? Oh wow, we have the lovers in the same position. That sounded a little creepy. The Lovers is a card that talks about that unconditional love, that soulmate energy, but it also talks about major decisions. Two of Swords talks about that as well. It's like a crossroads, but Lovers is like, this is an important question. Do you want to work on yourself to make sure that you're able to retain a relationship that is important to you, or do you not? Three of Swords in the reverse. This is someone who initially decided, I'm going to escape, I'm going to party, I'm going to, probably by themselves, by the way, because Four of Pentacles, Four of Swords, this is not somebody who's being very social. They may seek out a date or, you know, somebody that they think might kind of replace what they have with you. But now this is someone who's looking at it as, I've got to do something to try to apologize and see if there's anything I can do to salvage this connection. Hello, Amanda. How are you doing? Yep. I feel it, Rachel. Yeah. And like most of the neighborhood friends were dudes. Like I remember on Easter we would play, you know, baseball where all our backyards met, you know. It's true, Sean. So we've got the Empress and the Knight of Swords. Okay. Look, it would be real easy for me to look at this and say, well, clearly you're this Empress. I think you're the Queen of Wands. And I'm not saying that you're not also an Empress. Remember, this could be a man just as easily as it could be a woman. This is energy that I'm reading, not like physicality. Because, look, I hope you got some skin, right? She did the skeleton. There's development in their emotional side. This is someone who is looking at a confession. I think they have written down how they felt. I think they have maybe even spoken with trusted friends or even a therapist. And now this person is thinking that truth that I didn't tell you, the feelings that I didn't know how to verbalize or articulate, now I'm finding out how to actually do that. So this is someone who did not do very well with that feminine side, right? We have the toxic masculinity. Now they've got the Empress card coming out. Okay, I'm impressed. They're actually doing some work here. Talking about their feelings, processing them, contemplating how that impacts what they want to do moving forward. Seven of Cups, Ace of Cups, and the Page of Cups. Really? I don't know if you've noticed. I don't expect you to keep track. You're not looking at the cards like I get to. But we have had primarily swords, wands, pentacles. We did have the 6 and the 9 of Cups in the reverse. But we've had a lot about this person maybe overanalyzing or contemplating, introspections taking place, numbing also. But now we just had 3 in a row from the water side, the emotional side. This person is not necessarily feeling love is a happy thing right now. They are a little bit depressed and wondering if there's going to be someone else who comes forward and shows interest in you, because as far as they're concerned, what they demonstrated as far as having a lack of importance placed on your connection, now they feel like they need to come back around and make clear that they're in love with you. That's gonna be a little awkward for them. This is not something that they're very good at. It's true. Oh, good for you, grind hard. Let me know what that's like. Really though, I'm gonna have to probably take a couple days off in the next month or so. All right, we have the 5 of Swords in the reverse and another Page of Cups. So in other words, this is the same as the last card we pulled from the Santa Muerte. And what does the 5 of Swords in the reverse mean? Let's make amends. Let's reconcile. I don't want to be angry anymore. These are both cards that can talk about an apology. Yeah, I think they're writing down their feelings, working on how they could express that love that they feel for you, maybe even capturing some of their favorite memories with you on paper to make it clear that they have thought about these emotions, not just like, oh, I miss you, sure, I love you, can you come back, right? There are people out there who are manipulative enough to think that, oh, if I just tell you that I love you, then, you know, I can continue to manipulate you or not change my behavior. This seems to be somebody who appreciates that they have to give context to the statement. If I just say I love you, you'll be like, oh, okay. I have to tell you more of the experience of like the lesson that I'm learning, the fact that I miss you, the fact that, you know, I acknowledge that I didn't do right by this. King of Cups, 3 of Pentacles in the reverse, 8 of Wands. Yeah, I think they're talking to somebody. I think they're getting advice. I think they're literally working on their emotional or mental health. And they're getting ready to communicate with you. Remember I said you were the Queen of Wands? Here you are again. Awfully daring dress you've got there. Where you shop. I hope that goes well for you. Oh, I'm sure. and I'm sure you've earned it. Hello, Grimble. How are you doing? So we've got the Four of Wands and the Moon in the reverse. This is completely uncomfortable for them. Okay, so there was an interview with Aurora, who is so different and so talented. It's not always the music that I seek out, but she kind of reminds me of Bjork for obvious reasons. But I feel like she's also got these super quotable interview responses, just like very blunt and direct, like, what are you gonna say about it? And at one point she talked about how going up on stage and performing her music is like defecating on stage for people. I don't think she said it that way. But she wasn't like delicate about how she said it. That's just like what it feels like. I'm putting all my emotions out there. That's how this person feels right now. Like if I actually tell this person how I feel and how emotionally upset I am and how much I miss them and how difficult it is to think back on how good you were, like it's going to feel very vulnerable for me to do this. Yup. That's what it is all about. Like if you're gonna share your emotions, that's kind of how it is, right? Preferably not in front of an entire crowd like Aurora has to do, but you know. Seven of Swords, 10 of Wands in the reverse, and the 9 of Swords. So they're freaking out right now. If people are asking if they're okay, they're like, yeah, fine, leave me alone. You know? Hello, Lee. How's your day going? Of course I can. Will I find the ring? I'm so sorry. I hope you do. Is Sage going to spill where she's been staying? Thank you for the tip, Lee. And I sure hope so. All right. And we're at 27 minutes, so not too far before we start those personal readings. Hello, Abigail. How are you doing? Hello, Andrew. What's up? So you might look at this person as a liar, to be honest. If I come through and I've written this like love letter and I tell you about how I've been through some difficult weeks or even months, contemplating how things went down between us, how you treated me, the fact that you really loved me, and then I just kind of like walked away or didn't really care about it, maybe when I come back around, you're just gonna laugh in my face. Maybe you're just gonna be like, oh, that's cute. Too little, too late. Deuces. They're nervous about that. What if you've started dating someone new? What if you don't care anymore? 8 of Swords in the reverse, Knight of Swords, Empress. They've gotten to the point, and high five. They've gotten to the point where they're like, that's the risk. It has to feel like defecating on a stage in front of a bunch of people. Sorry, guys. Is it too early on a Monday morning for that kind of thing? It's just, you know, this person's terrified. They're terrified of telling you how they feel, terrified of reaching out. Oh my goodness, I did not grab all of the cards. What was I thinking? All right. They're terrified of telling you and then being rejected anyways. That was like awfully messy of me. I left like 5 cards behind. Wow, okay, so we have the Hermit in the reverse and the High Priestess. It's a beautiful thing when somebody realizes I was a big old dope. I was not seeing things clearly, didn't want to, right? I was like, no, you didn't win. You didn't win. I don't love you. Get away from me. To now, they're the High Priestess. If you've ever seen somebody try to debate, go ahead, ask me how I know. am nerdy enough to have been on the debate team. In fact, I actually started it at my high school. Go ahead, make fun of me. Look, when people are comfortable debating, you can tell. When people are uncomfortable debating, you can tell. It doesn't mean whether or not they're actually like good, right? Most of the time, those align. If you're comfortable with it, you're probably good at it. If you're not comfortable, you probably suck at it, right? But sometimes there are exceptions. This is somebody who's like hitting that rhythm. They're like, okay, now I feel comfortable. Now I know how to deal with this. And you could even argue that's how most people are with, like, you know, starting a new job. Initially, I'm going to be a little bit cautious and a little bit nervous. I don't want to do anything wrong. But then I hit my stride and it's like, okay, I know the process. I know the drill. I'm good. All right, so this is the Love Oracle. We'll pull a few from here, and then we're starting on those personal questions. Let's see what these emotions are. Anybody want to guess? I do feel like we might see the second chance or reconciliation card. Oh, this person's watching you. Hoping, expecting, faith, and manifesting. So they're trying to work on what they can in the hopes that they could have some sort of second chance with you. They have been closely monitoring or trying to see what they can glean from your social media regarding who you are, how you interact with others. Are you interested in somebody else? Do they still have a chance is the main thing, right? They know and have accepted that the reason the connection did not go where it could have is because they repeated patterns. They didn't change behavior that was immature or blocking out that emotional side, right? So they're feeling a lot of regret. They're feeling that this was a pretty major loss for them. Those feelings they tried to block for so long, now it's like a semi is hitting them, right? There's been this resistance. They didn't want to admit how much they felt for you, so they suppressed it. But you can only do that for so long, right? So you, on the other hand, are being seen as somebody who has been releasing or letting go of this connection, feeling like there's not much that you could do. I mean, look, if you got a fence separating your yard and your neighbor's yard and it looks like on one side but not on your side, what are you going to do about it? Look, I sanded it, I painted it, it looks great on this side. Looks like crap on your side. Do you need a paintbrush? Do you want to pay me to do it? You can't do that work for someone else. But I do think that this person's finally decided, like, you know what? I do have a paintbrush. I could paint that fence. It could start looking better. In part because they saw you working on yourself and realized they probably couldn't just like get you back without doing anything, right? It's good for them. They figured it out. All right, we're gonna start. Ooh, I looked and it was 33. We're gonna start on personal questions. This is the Tarot of the Cat People. Hello, Stephen. Hello, Holy Ghost. Hello, Dino. How are you doing? You're so welcome, Rachel. All right. So for Lee, will I find the ring? Will Lee find the ring? Yes. Nine of Pentacles. Temperance in the reverse. King of Wands in the reverse. I do feel like this could be near water, kitchen, bathroom. Or I don't know if you actually were out somewhere like by a river. King of Wands in the reverse. I don't think it's going to be in some place that you initially think of, though. Justice in the reverse. King of Swords in the reverse. I feel like it comes to you easier when you stop thinking about it. So Have you ever read Indians in the Cupboard? I think that was that book, right? Or is it just one? I don't know, you guys. It was one of my favorite books when I was a kid. And I read it a couple times. And then I couldn't find where I left it. And I got really sad. I wanted to read it again. Took me forever. I'm telling you, like, I obsessed over this search. Like, what did I do with my book? And the day I found it, I was like, ah! It was literally just like under a stack of crap on my, I don't know, like little rocking chair or whatever. It was not where it should have been, but I ended up finding it literally like, I don't know, an hour after I decided to just like chill and I would eventually figure it out, right? I did. So I think you chill for a little bit and then you're like, I got it. You just need to like let the brain recalibrate or reset. Okay, and then we've got Will Sage still where she's been staying. She's been told not to. I don't think she will. She's either got some like specific warning from dad about this. See how the finger's pointing? Or the hand? It's like, you shall not tell anybody. Sorry. I think she's been told she gets grounded or something bad happens if she's honest about it. Have you thought about following? Have you thought about like an air tag? I feel like you're gonna find out, and I don't think she's gonna be the one who tells you. Hello, Rapali, how are you doing? Hello, big body, what's up? All right. So the thing is, Lee, I do think that there's going to be a shift at some point. I think this is temporary, and then there's another place. So it might be helpful to have that information if it's inconsistent, for example. I don't know if there's any laws or rules against being able to use, you know, like track my kid or whatever, but that's what I would do. Hello, King Angel. How are you doing? Yes. Use your gut. Ask yourself why you're resisting. Is it fear? Or is it logic? Or were you saying resting? I might have read that wrong. Excuse me. But you're asking the question for a reason, right? All right. Well, that seems pretty direct. Yes, I agree. Hello, See the Gray. Hello, Rick. How's it going? Holy Ghost, you crack me up. Invoking. Yes, it's true. Yes. All right. Let's see what we get for Big Body. And then I'm going to have to probably like go eat some breakfast. Big Body, we got the Four of Swords, Eight of Cups, and the Nine of Swords in the reverse. This seems to be suggesting that you should have some time to yourself, right? That's like you saying you're resting. Eight of Cups, Nine of Swords in the reverse. Is there some guilt here? Do you feel like you have to say yes? Nine of Swords is in the reverse and the Nine of Wands. intentions. I feel like this is someone who likes to keep you... I feel like they like to keep you within arm's length. So I like to have access to you. I like to be in charge of, you know, how things go, but I'm not going to let you, you know, get close, right? Magician in general, I mean, this is a card about somebody who takes action, but with the Five of Pentacles being in the reverse, I feel like this could be somebody who likes to leverage ghosting or gaslighting, manipulation of some sort in terms of, I'm going to keep you at a distance so that you always come chase me, right? And if that's the case, I don't recommend. You got someone else interested in you who might be a better match for you, actually. This person could be Sagittarius, doesn't have to be, but I feel like there's someone else who's trying to figure out a way to communicate with you or express interest in you. And this is somebody who has a very different energy. This is somebody who has that appreciation for the divine masculine and the divine feminine, which means I can take actions, I can do things to make sure that my life is on the right path, but I also have the ability to be emotional, be loving. That might be a block for the current person. But there's somebody else here who likes you. They think you look good in jeans and stuff. So just so you know, you might have something else. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I love you all. Thank you for the likes and the subscribes, and I will see you